Time to start up with the next build, or should I say builds. Kind of as a tune-up for this year's Big Spring contest, kind of because I'd like to do both of them at the same time as a side-by-side comparison. I'm going to be building the Bandai First Order TIE Fighter. This is just the regular TIE Fighter, single-seat cockpit. And in true Bandai fashion, there's a lot of parts going here, including frames for the solar panels and then the separate panels if you decide to paint. Got a combination of water slide decals and stickers if you want to use them. The base, which is similar to most of their Star Wars kits, difference being the upright pole and how it all hooks up. And the effects pieces for the guns if you decide you want your TIE Fighter shooting. The other half of this build is going to be the Special Forces version, or the better known as the two-seater that Poe and Finn stole in Poe's escape. This sprue is virtually identical to this one. The solar panels are the same size. Biggest differences being clear glass here and the red pieces for the colored section on the body. There's also a second pilot figure, and of course the different body pieces for the main body of the ship, since this one is based more off the older style TIE Fighter, whereas this one is pretty much an entirely new one. As a side-by-side, it should be an interesting build. Won't be a lot of paint going on. Might do some weathering, since the First Order does seem to do things a little differently than their predecessors. But we'll play that all by ear as we get started. Alright, been working on the cockpits. Start with the single-seater. Painted the interior with a light primer gray from Vallejo and gave it a black wash prior to assembly. Actually, I painted them on the sprues. The pilot, I just basically dry brushed in gunmetal to bring out the detail. There's not a lot you're going to see once it's all assembled. Now, on the Special Forces version, it's the same idea. Light primer gray, black wash, only you've got both front and rear. Front and rear. Gunner and pilot got the same treatment as this guy did, namely a dry brush of gunmetal. Brings out enough detail that you'll be able to see them in the cockpits, but once the cockpits are closed up, there's not going to be a lot you're going to see either way. Moving along. Alright, at this point, as you can see, we've got the cores of both TIE Fighters complete. The antenna like this, for this one, broke off while I was trying to install it, so I may or may not replace it. One change I did make to the Special Forces version is I went in and painted the area, the thrusters and the area around them in gunmetal, just to make them stand out a little more. You can actually see into the cockpit fairly well, which surprises me, but I'm not going to complain. This one you can even see into the back where the gunner's sitting. And of course from the front, you got a similar view. Got all the guns in place, including the turret for the rear gunner. And of course the traditional TIE Fighter weapons. At this point, next step is going to be building the solar panels and deciding if I want to weather this at all. Going to be quick build time here. Alrighty, again, the nature of snap kits being what they are. Another very quick build, and I have 2 complete first order TIE fighters. On the left we have the regular TIE fighter, and on the right we have the Special Forces version. Now, in finishing these up, what I did, given the fact they are black, obviously a black wash wouldn't do a lot of good. So what I did, and hopefully it shows here, if not it should show up in the stills I'm going to follow this with. What I did was I just dry brushed gunmetal over the various black surfaces. In fact, I even did it over the red surfaces. And in the end, I got a nice little effect. One of the things I actually like about the bases on these is these do not require removing pieces from the ships to put them on the base. In the case of the Special Forces version, there's a yoke that fits into the back of both thrusters, and here it fits into the back of the main piece. But all in all, I'm very happy with how these two turned out. Detail, I mean, you can actually see into the cockpits, which is good. Detail's really good. The kits go together really quickly. I mean, right now it's Monday morning and I started these Saturday night. My only real complaint is that the bases for all the Force Awakens stuff are the desert color for Jakku, but that can be addressed. As is my usual want, I'll stick some stills at the end of this. And thank you all for watching.